Happy Monday, everybody. My name is Brandon Rosa, and welcome to episode 163 of the Xbox in 10 podcast, your weekly source of Xbox gaming news covered in around 10 minutes. Every Monday, this podcast covers new game releases, the previous week's gaming news, and we all learn an Xbox-related fun fact together. The show's on YouTube and podcast services around the world, so please do me a favor, subscribe on your favorite, and then leave a review. Xboxin10.com, no numbers, is your quick source for links to all of our podcast destinations and social media profiles, which you can follow at Xboxin10. To start, let's talk game releases. The big game out last week was Eternal Hope, and the games coming out this week include Time on Frog Island, The Tale of Baston, Rayland, Azure Striker Gunvolt 2, Hot Wheels Unleashed Looney Tunes, Musinks, Mothman 1966, Superola Champion Edition, Spider Soars, Power Wash Simulator, Escape Academy, Running a Magic, Dreadout 2, DC Legends of Super Pets, The Adventures of Crypto and Ace, and Shred Remastered. Some new games coming to Xbox Game Pass and now playable include the following. Last Call BBS on PC. Available now on Cloud Console and PC, you can pick up Yakuza 0, Yakuza Kiwami 2, DJ Mac Respect 5, Match Point Tennis Championships, Road 96. Available on July 14th on console and PC, you can pick up Escape Academy, My Friend Peppa Pig on Cloud Console and PC, Overwhelm on PC, Paw Patrol the Movie Adventure City Calls on Cloud Console and PC, and Power Wash Simulator on Cloud Console and PC July 14th. Now on to last week's biggest news stories, and we have 6 to cover this week. Number 1, Xbox Series has already sold more than double Xbox One in Japan. Andy Robinson at VGC writes, Microsoft's Xbox Series of consoles have already more than doubled the Xbox One lifetime sales in Japan, the latest hardware sales data has revealed. Data published by Famitsu indicates that as of July 3rd, Xbox Series X and Series S have sold more than 260,504 units. According to the same source, Microsoft's previous Xbox One console sold around 114,831 units in its lifetime. However, Xbox Series still has a way to go before it breaks Xbox records in Japan. Microsoft's best-selling console in the region is the Xbox 360, with 1.6 million units sold in its lifetime. Xbox Series X and Fs have enjoyed an unusual sales momentum in Japan over the last month, with the consoles even at one point outselling PS5 in 2 separate weeks. While notable given how infrequently it occurs, sales of Xbox Series X and S matching those of PS5 spoke largely to the ongoing stock issues being faced by Sony in its home country. In the weekend in July 3rd, Xbox Series X sold 9,756 units, and Xbox Series S managed 2,774 units. PS5 sold 20,028 standard consoles, and 4,333 digital editions. And while its figures represent a market improvement for Microsoft in a region where it has typically struggled, it's still far behind its rivals. Since the console's launch in November of 2020, PS5 has sold 1.7 million units. Both, however, pale in comparison to Nintendo Switch, which has sold over 25 million units since its launch in 2017. Microsoft has made renewed efforts in Japan with its most recent console launch. Xbox Series X and S launched day and date with other territories compared to a year later with its previous console. And Xbox boss Phil Spencer has said it intends to better cater to Japanese players this console generation. This is all good news and should be celebrated. As clearly indicated in the numbers, Series X and S are off to a banger start when you compare it to the Xbox One in its lifetime. It's good to see the efforts of Phil Spencer and team have resulted in increased sales and should continue in the lifetime of the Series X and S generation. Number 2, Xbox 360 games will no longer be part of Games with Gold in October. Zach Zweisen at Kotaku writes, Microsoft announced this week that starting in October, it will stop providing monthly free Xbox 360 games as part of its Games with Gold program. Emails announcing the news have started going out to Xbox Live subscribers, and Microsoft promises it will continue to give out free Xbox One games moving forward. Games with Gold launched in 2013 as a response to PlayStation's monthly game giveaways for PS Plus members. The service is part of Xbox Live Gold and Game Pass Ultimate. Beginning with Fable 3 in June of 2013, Microsoft has provided players with at least one free Xbox 360 game every month. All of these games since 2015 have also been backward compatible with Xbox One and later Xbox Series X and S consoles, but all good things must come to an end. I got my warning email regarding the news just a few hours ago. In the email, Microsoft says it has reached the limit of our ability to bring Xbox 360 games to the catalog, but says it plans to continue to offer Xbox One titles and exclusive savings each month. To me, this is really a non-news story. Obviously, it stinks to all the people that did take advantage of the program and play these games every month. But with Game Pass, I've largely ignored Games with Gold. I redeem the games every month, which literally just clog up my digital game library. So the statement, all good things must come to an end, for me, isn't too true. Number 3, the famous Halo 2 E3 demo will soon be playable thanks to 343. Ryan Dinsdale at IGN writes, 343 Industries is recreating the iconic E3 2003 Halo 2 demo in the Master Chief Collection as part of a larger modding project to revive cut content. The Earth City demo never made it to the final version of Halo 2, but was universally considered a spectacle at the time, with the IGN saying, quote, "There's little in the 8-minute demo that isn't worthy of awe," end quote, in our original preview. As outlined in a Halo blog post, it's being made playable for the first time as part of the Dig Site project, which will also bring back pre-release content from the original Halo Combat Evolved. This will include a ton of different assets, including previously unseen models, vehicles, NPCs, weapons, and even levels. Earth City headlines the package though, finally letting fans have a shot of the famous demo after nearly 2 decades. While 343 is definitely hoping to bring it to each version of the Master Chief Collection, it said it can't make promises about bringing it to console. This is because it's a particularly difficult undertaking. Quote, "This is not a trivial process, and we should probably layer on a whole page of caveats that come with taking a demo map for an engine that no longer exists and getting it to not blow up on the current light mapper," end quote, the blog post said. This is awesome. Video game preservation, online services, all this is a big problem in the video game industry, so I love that they're going back to create cut content or content that was never officially released for modern audiences like myself who never got to experience this or see it at the time. Number 4, Ubisoft Forward returns in full force in September. Heidi Nicholas at True Achievements writes, "First we get a look at Skull and Bones in a Ubisoft Forward spotlight, before Ubisoft Forward returns in full force with a full showcase scheduled for September. Ubisoft is gearing up to reveal updates on a number of its upcoming games. There's Ubisoft Forward set for September, which will be a multi-game showcase and kicks off on September 10th at 3 p.m. Eastern. September's multi-game Ubisoft Forward showcase promises to reveal updates and news on multiple games and projects from Ubisoft teams around the world. We don't yet have details on which games will be featured, although we'll hear more about the showcase as it draws nearer. Plus we know that Ubisoft will unveil the future of Assassin's Creed in September at a very special event. Short news story here, but I love game conferences, as you all know who listen to the show, so I can't wait to see what they have in store for us. Hopefully by not having a show around E3 or the early summer like they usually do, means that they'll have a lot to show for us. Ubisoft has certainly declined, for me at least, in the past couple of years, so to me they have a lot to prove. Number 5, Skull and Bones release date announced. Matt Kim at IGN writes, "After much anticipation, Ubisoft announced that Skull and Bones will be released on November 8th for PS5, Series X and S, Google Stadia, and PC via the Epic Games Store and Ubisoft Store. Skull and Bones was officially announced in 2017, though began development years before that. Based on the naval combat in Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, Skull and Bones faced numerous delays, missing its initial 2018 release window and every subsequent year after that until now. In Skull and Bones, players will captain their own pirate ships, accept contracts, gather resources, and sail the high seas, while attacking merchant ships for loot. Different choices will influence the player's journey, while going up to the pirate ranks will open up new customizations for your ships. Set during the second golden age of piracy, players can now also team up with up to 2 friends and enable PvP to face opponents in the open waters. Ubisoft is promising a robust, multi-year post-launch roadmap with regular updates, new content, activities, stories, and challenges all for free. Alongside the previously announced consoles, Skull and Bones will also be available in Ubisoft Plus on PC, Stadia, and Amazon Luna. This is a game, and it's coming out in November, and it seems like this is going to be an easy flop. The showcase for this game looked pretty cool, but how is this game going to survive on November 8th, let alone this fall? Going head to head with God of War Ragnarok? A huge mistake in an already packed fall. I never want to see a game fall, but as good as Sea of Thieves is, I just don't see the market for this game. And number 6, Respawn is hiring for a single-player FPS set in the Apex Legends universe. Oisin Kuhunki at VG247 writes, "Some new job listings suggest that Respawn Entertainment is hiring for a single-player Apex Legends game. If anything is signaling the death knell of Titanfall, it's a series of new job listings on Respawn's website, pointing towards the developer's next single-player title. As spotted by Dextero, the Apex Legends and Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order developer is currently looking to fill a number of roles for an Apex Universe incubation project. It's the specific naming of Apex Universe that seems to suggest what Respawn is intending to do with the series that its foundations in the mecha game Titanfall. One of the roles which mentions the Apex Universe is a Senior Engine Systems Engineer role. However, it's in the hard surface artist role that gives the game away a bit. The description notes that the role is intended to help build a brand new Respawn single-player adventure. Obviously, there's no indication as to what the single-player title might be. For all we know, it could be a small experimental title to test the waters of single-player Apex Legends content. Maybe Titanfall really isn't dead in the water, and they'll finally give the people what they want, mechs. This is exciting. I loved Titanfall 1, loved Titanfall 2, and I loved Apex Legends at launch. Give me more single-player content because I love the mechanics in their games. And even if it's in the Apex universe, isn't that kind of Titanfall 3 anyway? We shall see. As always, we end our show with a fun fact about Xbox, and since we were talking about sales records, let's talk about Xbox Live subscribers. So it was first launched in 2002. Xbox Live is an online multiplayer service associated with Microsoft's Xbox line of consoles, as we all know. And as of December of 2020, Microsoft's online gaming service had approximately 100 million monthly active users, up from just under 40 million at the beginning of 2016. I think this is a great fact. Really interesting to see how much growth they've had from 2016 alone. And you have to imagine that that number is probably up about 120 million at this point. Contrary to what you might read on Twitter, the Xbox ecosystem is thriving and alive and well. Thank you all for listening to the Xbox in 10 podcast, your weekly source of Xbox gaming news covered in around 10 minutes. If you like the show, please subscribe to your favorite podcast service, share with your friends, leave a review, and follow on all social media at Xbox in 10. This past week, I haven't had too much time to game, so I've just been doing my weeklies to get my pinnacles in Destiny 2 as I prepare to run my first ever Grandmaster Nightfall. I got 5 light levels to go, so a little bit more grinding my way in the future. My name is Brandon Rosa. You can follow me on Xbox at Brosa93. Hope you have a great week, stay safe, and keep on gaming.